There we go. Might get a bit warm. You're going to sweat.
I'll be all right. Calm down after the deadlifting. Then. I'm excited.
Would you? You go to a perfect bit of equipment, like, yeah, let's go.
Exactly, yeah, that's what we go.
Cool. So I will think talk of Ed. So I put that on there. It should come through. There we go. You ready? It's not quite the standing ovation you're gonna get, but like the middle that you have.
Yeah, well, like Hannah's going to get when she comes back. A couple of weeks, right?
Hey Siri, turn off the power mode. You can hear Donkey talking now, aren't you? There we go. Good evening, everyone. So my name is Rory from Made to Move, and in this evening in this video, I've got Ed Thatcher from Endeavour, who's our chosen charity. So we're going to just do a bit of a Q&A session, really, just to kind of introduce what they're doing, the work that they do, and obviously the fundraising that we're doing for them. So as many of you know, that myself and a big group of friends, we're going to be doing the Lisbon Marathon, which is on the 9th of October, let's get that right, which is roughly from now around 7 weeks away, so not long to go, and there's some sore limbs already. But so thanks for coming down, Ed. Good to have you down. Nervous?
I'm okay.
You're
I'm
okay.
okay. You've put me at rest.
So yeah, so I think we'll fire away, ask some questions, and then Ed can give us a bit of an insight in terms of what they're doing, and just give a bit more of a humanization of what the charity are and why we're doing what we're doing. So Ed, kind of introduce yourself, kind of what you're doing around Endeavour and maybe what Endeavour do.
Yeah, okay. So Endeavour is a long-established outdoor charity, outdoor and alternative education charity. We were set up in 1955 by the leader of the first successful Everest expedition, a guy called John Hunt. Working with a guy called Dick Alcock. We set up the organisation to help broaden young people's horizons using outdoor adventure and alternative education. And we've been doing something along those lines ever since. Back in the days, in 1955, it was the organisation was focused on working with apprentices for the major industries of the day.
Okay.
Helping them. A lot of those apprentices came from very working class backgrounds and haven't experienced much outside their hometown. And the charity took them out and broadened their horizons, gave them new experiences, and returned them to work more sort of fully rounded people that are able to contribute to the business. So it was funded by businesses originally.
Right. Okay.
In the 70s, we got funding from the government. Who recognised that young people were struggling with school, and the DFE gave us a load of cash to deliver alternative education to young people who were struggling, and we did that for 40-something years, going into schools all across the country, taking young people out, doing outdoor education, visiting employers with them, doing alternative achievement awards like the ASDAN Award, to help them re-engage with school, to give us something to be enthusiastic about. Since 2010, we've changed our approach slightly, and we've been working in a very old school in Sheffield, built in 1874, one of the first publicly funded schools in Sheffield ever built. And we've been working there, running our own AP, so our own alternative provision setting. We have young people, mainly in year 10 and 11, so 14, 15, 16 years old, who are not attending school for a variety of reasons. It may be that they have social and emotional problems, maybe they're nervous, very, very scared of school, have bad experiences and just can't return to their mainstream school. It may be that they've got behavioural problems, but maybe that they have recently arrived in the country and there's no school willing to give them a chance to start school. So a real mix of young people coming to our AP, all of whom are keen to get educated, as most young people are, but have struggles with it for one reason or another. And we offer an alternative to mainstream schooling. We do offer the mainstream subjects, so we're the only AP in Sheffield that offers GCSEs. Okay. So we try and ensure that young people get GCSE Maths and English, or functional skills in Maths and English. We offer outdoor education, we offer sports, vocational training, arts, visits to employers. We offer a much sort of broader, rounder, young person focused curriculum in schools in order to re-engage young people with learning and to give them that platform from which they can accelerate into college. So we tend to work with them until they finish year 11. And a big problem for young people who are struggling with school is that when they arrive at college, they're demotivated and they're immediately put into doing functional skills. So they've got to build up their English and maths before they can move on. So we try and ameliorate that by making sure they stay motivated, stay enthusiastic, enjoy their schooling, but also get those basic functional skills and they hit college with a real platform to sort of progress into the interesting stuff straight away. We also, in addition to our AP work, we offer a huge variety of programs focused on working with Sheffield's most disadvantaged and vulnerable people, really from the age of 8 to 80.
So it's quite a wide range.
Huge range, yeah. So this summer we've been funded by the council to deliver holiday activities and food, which is basically taking young people who are on free school meals out and doing full day outdoor activities with them and providing either a cold or hot meal to make sure they get great food, great activities and something to enjoy over the summer. So that's been the mainstay of our summer activities. Through the summer, we've also been delivering whole family catering activities through the same programme. So teaching kids and their parents to learn to cook together and cook healthy economic foods, healthy economic meals. We do green social prescribing. Green social prescribers are working with people with low mental health, low mood, taking them out into the country and on the water, doing group activities to sort of boost their mood and help them keep mentally and physically healthy. We do similar work with rehab teams, so like Phoenix House, we're in partnership with Phoenix House. We do work with people who are struggling in college or at school, delivering that kind of traditional off-site alternative education, which I mentioned before. We teach heritage skills, we teach catering, vocational catering skills, mostly focused on 40 to 25, but really extending through a full age range, using our skills and our abilities and our history to make sure that we give people the best sort of best opportunities in life. We're really driven. We recently went through a organisational theory of change process to really identify what it was that we did. And we've identified our purpose as being enriching lives through education and adventure. That's a pretty broad sort of purpose. Education's clear, but for us, education is very broad. Education is formal education, but also all that like alternative education I talked about. But adventure is also broad. Like everything should feel like an adventure, right? Exciting adventure to get involved in. So catering sessions should feel adventurous if we deliver them. But also we are super committed to making sure that the young people who join us have all the same opportunities as the people in the best schools. So I sort of talk about it like democratizing Duke of Edinburgh would be one way I talk about it. Lots of people do Duke of Edinburgh, but it's normally people with parents who can afford to buy the boots, who can afford to buy the tent, who can afford to get young people to the place they need to start their expedition or support them into going and doing a kind of voluntary placement. We do all that for the young people we work with. We've got a huge outdoor stores. We make sure that we can support them in their expeditions, in their getting out into the country, their access to the countryside and to developing those skills. We try and democratise adventure, democratise education so that everybody, regardless of your background, has the same opportunity and same ability to access all that stuff.
Wow. Sorry, rehearsed that bit, isn't it? It's like rehearsed that bit. No, off the back of the hand.
Sorry, I'm just looking at my colleague over here. How many times have I done that recently?
And I think that's really well, I suppose it's just impressive to be able to offer that platform for everyone. So everyone's got the same start almost.
Yeah,
In terms
yeah,
of
yeah.
achievement they've got, which is great. What would you say is like the biggest challenge maybe young adults are finding at this moment in time?
With regard to, particularly with regard to the AP provision that we offer, the alternative provision setting, young people are even more disengaged from school on average than they used to be, because we've just had the COVID pandemic. So where young people, you know, you're always going to get disengaged young people, right? Because through whatever personal reasons their personal situations they're experiencing, it's made it hard for them to engage with formal education. And that happens. All those things happen just as much now as they always have. But then on top of that, you've had a year where they weren't able to go to school. Right? So for people struggling, young people who would have been struggling anyway, now they're struggling even more. Like even more reasons to find school difficult, and people are academically behind where they were. So a lot of the people in our local community, the school tell me, our local school tell us, are 3 years behind national average. And these are the people in the mainstream school. And there's a lot, because allied with all of this, the COVID pandemic has really sort of accentuated in a bad way the kind of young people's mental health epidemic that we're experiencing at the moment, and making young people's mental health even worse. So you've got this kind of vicious cycle of people not being used to school. Their mental health is deteriorating. They're further behind than they would normally be, and all of this is leading to increased expulsions or exclusions, permanent exclusions from schools in our area, and you know, more people with more challenges coming to our setting. And we offer this incredible, I think it's an incredible service, where we have a really caring group of teachers and support workers who offer a real kind of holistic support to the young people who join us. You know, we start every day with a cheery greeting. We make sure that young people are fed before they start work. So we always have tea and toast in the morning. A lot of the young people that we work with will not eat breakfast when they get to us. And in school, often teachers don't have time to pick that up, right? And so people go all day without food until lunchtime, right? So their morning learning is seriously challenged. Because we're a smaller, you know, we have a smaller group of young people and more focused on that kind of pastoral care, we really tend to pick that up and make sure that people are fed first thing, that they get a nice healthy lunch. You know, so we've got that kind of pastoral care. We work in very small groups because we have a huge range of young people with a lot of different abilities. We have some like asylum seekers from Yemen, whose maths might be fantastic, but whose English is really poor. And we have some young people who may not have been in a maths lesson for, like, you know, 5 years in primary school. So we can't have them both together in a single class group. This doesn't work. So we run a alternative education stroke social program where we do things like table tennis competitions, arts, outdoor education, visits to employers. And then in amongst all that, our teachers will take out small groups and work in a really focused way with the young people to ensure they have that focus support they need to progress with their education and get that sort of quick start into college that we were talking about.
And that's like, so do they come, is it like a period of time they might spend with you, certain groups of children? Is it purely for a year or 2 years?
It depends. It depends on what route they take to get to us. So in the AP again, the alternative provision school, we can't call it a school because it's only 16 hours a week, but you need to be 25 or something to be called a school. In the school-like setting that we run, people tend to be referred to us for a year or two and then go on to college. Almost everybody who leaves us goes into college. Some people return to school, but it's vanishingly rare. If you've been year 11 and you've been excluded from school, trying to find another place is tough. So we tend to try and make sure that people are ready for college. And then if they're referred to us through the other programs that we run, it may be as short as for example, the healthy activities and food program. Some people might only come for one day, but that might be the only day they make it out to the Peak District and so on.
Yeah.
You know. For the Green Social Prescribing program, it might be a day every day for 10 weeks.
Wow.
So it kind of depends on the route in on a particular project that we're delivering, how long people stay. But the education thing, anything between 6 months and a year, depending on what point of the year they're referred.
How many people in Endeavour are keeping this together?
How many staff?
Yeah.
We've got 12 full-time staff.
Okay.
At the moment, we've got the programs team with an outdoor instructor and a chef trainer who deliver our program sort of program streams, supported by Hannah, who's just off shot here. Very, very ably supported by Hannah. And they deliver most of our non-education programs. And then we have 2 teachers and a support mentor. One of the teachers is our head of education. In fact, our support mentor is also a teacher, historically. We have a local young Roman man who came to us as a student a number of years ago and has joined us as a support mentor who adds incredibly to the team, because obviously comes with in-depth knowledge of the community and also ability to speak Roman Slovak.
Wow, so that must be just an easy barrier to overcome then.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's made a huge difference to the way we work, and it's so brilliant to bring on a young man who came to us and was clearly enthusiastic, who's now working with us to deliver the same good work that he received. We have myself as CEO, Rachel, our finance director, an administrator, and Hannah, which is head of programs and head of quality and performance. And then we have sessional workers and freelance staff. So we use a lot of freelance staff. And then we work with partners like we're gonna with you soon, bring some young people down here for the insight. So we're always leveraging local businesses to help us inspire the young people and broaden horizons. And that really is actually that local thing is quite significant. That's because as I was talking earlier on about that kind of mental health issues that a lot of young people have, there's also a great degree of confidence, lack of confidence to go outside their local area. So we're based near the Northern General and Page Hill, and a lot of the very, very, very local businesses are takeaways or small shops kind of thing. And people, a lot of young people we work with have a very limited ambition. Like they're going to go and work in exactly what they can see in front of them because they don't go out of their area. So we try and broaden those horizons and then engage with lots of local businesses so that we can take them in and see how accessible those businesses are to them, to like broaden their aspiration, broaden their ambition, and make it a more diverse area, get people moving in and out of the area, like and increase opportunities to do that.
No, that's brilliant. I think that's. I said we was discussing before this about perhaps exploring, and it'd be great to kind of, I suppose, open some eyes, which I think is important, especially in the health and fitness sector, as it's always growing, isn't it? Potential to explore. So how did you get involved with Endeavour? That's my question.
Okay, so my personal history. I came to Sheffield in 1993.
You don't just care.
So I started uni in 1993, finished in 97. I did a communication studies course. And I've always, communication studies, it's human communication, so sociology, psychology, linguistics. So I've always had this kind of social, interest in social issues. And that's why I studied that course. But I finished the course and if I didn't want to carry on in academia, I couldn't see what it qualified me to do. It's kind of like a bit of a loss. It was either academia or middle management. Neither of things, we did a bit of group psychology. So I was like, well, what does this qualify me to do? Passed my eyes around for ages, went to London, lived in my uncle's flat. I eventually got a job as a fundraiser for a puppet theatre charity
Wow.
who did work in the Balkans. So they were called Rise Phoenix, and worked with this guy Dragan Matejevic, with a great name. Who's from Croatia, and he basically, in response to all the different Balkan wars that had happened, he'd gone out and done public theatre with young people as a sort of form of, you know, both workshops but also delivering various types of public theatre as a form of sort of arts therapy, but very much unqualified, but just done from his heart. And I worked there for a year, and we raised some funds to get, this is 1999 now. The Kosovo war was just kind of like, it was in full flow. And we raised funds to go and work in the refugee camps in Macedonia, so that the whole public theatre troupe could go out to Macedonia.
Wow.
Now they were just basically then that, we're off, kind of, you know, there's nothing really for you to do while we're away because you won't have a leadership kind of thing, so we're going to kind of like bring your job to a close for now. If you want to reapply later when we come back, fine, kind of thing. So for a while I thought, you know, I want to be able to do fun some of this kind of stuff myself. And I went off and got a job, well, got 2 jobs. I applied for a job doing selling financial services, and then I got a job working for Office Angels, doing back office support, thinking I'll get into like making some money because then I can do more interesting things. I can film myself. But it wasn't for me. Like I lasted 3 days at Office Angels.
Wow.
I just don't like that work environment. So I rang up Dragan and said, look, you know, I'm at the loose end, you're off to, it was like 3 days later or something, you're off to Macedonia. Can I come along? And then we bought a bus to go out there, like an old post office bus.
Right.
We got now what's his name? The guy who illustrated all the Royal Barberets, Quentin Blake.
Right.
To like put a BFG on the side of it, to paint a BFG on the side. So we painted this huge, like big friendly giant on the side. It was the BFG tour. And we all drove out across Europe to Macedonia. And I stayed with them and did a month's work delivering puppet therapy. My first experience of youth was arriving at this refugee camp. The Dragan was like, you know, we arrived at this bus that's got the BFG painted on the side. The Dragan's like, I've got to go and do the I've got to go and do the admin. I've got to go and meet the leaders. You need to entertain these kids. And I've like never done a day's kind of youth work at all. So I just had like 200 kids there like entertain us. And I just okay, follow me. Everyone be a kangaroo. Everyone's looking around. 200 kids in there. Right, everyone be a spy. You know, like sneaking around the tents, trying to like, you know, and just did that for about 2 hours.
Wow.
And was kind of hooked from that point on. I was like, okay, I love this work. I love this like youth work. I love doing arts work. And then I stayed out in the Balkans doing similar kind of stuff for 2 years. When after the Kosovo War finished, went to Kosovo, got a job for another organisation called Balkan Sunflowers. Ended up working for them as country coordinator for Kosovo and then for Albania. Went down to Albania, developed mine and weapon awareness programs for the unexploded ordnance. Had an amazing time with loads of different work. Lived in a free love like commune basically. This Balkan Sunflowers has been set up by kind of all these people from a German free love commune. So I didn't really sort of get involved in any of that. But, that was the kind of like the background to it. I only mention it because it's a bit interesting. Anyway, I spent 2 years setting up community gardens, delivering arts projects, doing education, working with the UN to develop this mine and weapon awareness work and delivering that in schools across Kosovo and Albania. And then after a couple of years, I just burnt out and came back to Sheffield. Moved back to Sheffield. While I was at university, I got really into climbing. I really love rock climbing. And then the job came up at Endeavour. It was like, we want youth workers who are interested in the outdoors because we deliver outdoor-based personal development. It was just that perfect intersection of the outdoors and the youth work and the creativity, working with young people. And so I got my first job for Endeavour on the back of that. And then from then until 2017, did that for 5 years, did freelance work for a further 3, did some community forestry work for a further 8 years, did a small bit of teaching, a bit more tree planting, and then the job came up at Endeavour as the coordinator in a project dedicated to heritage skills, personal development, and the outdoors. So I started back in 2017, and from then, as you said earlier on, worked my way up through the organisation to the current position of CEO.
Wow.
Yeah.
Story now, yeah.
It's been a fun ride.
Yeah.
And it's great to be where I am now. Like, you know, leading this organisation to do the stuff that I'm really passionate about and really care about and want to see more of delivering for the young people we work with. Which, yeah, it's brilliant.
Amazing. And what's maybe a major challenge that a charity such as Endeavour is facing at the moment?
I mean, a major challenge. It's a challenge we're all facing. So the cost of living, cost of everything's going up. We've got huge inflation, but the cost for the traded. So we run on a mixed model of funded and traded services, and the value of the traded services hasn't gone up at all. So we get paid by the council to deliver the AP to young people, but it's never enough to cover what we want to do. We want to give these young people the best, and we get paid for something that, you know, isn't well, we don't get enough to give what we want to give, you know, to the young people. So we work cleverly. We augment that with you know, funding from charitable bodies, from our corporate fundraising program, people like yourself generously volunteer to raise funds for us, and we use that funding that we get to provide that broad offer, that broad curriculum that really helps young people and democratises all the opportunities that we want to give them.
No, brilliant. I think, like I say, I suppose the challenge is trying to get over that financial hurdle, which we're all facing at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah.
And hopefully we get out of this pretty soon.
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
But you know, before we kind of wrap up, then, you know, give us maybe a case study of maybe one group or individuals that you've kind of helped and that want to share with, you know, people who are watching and listening, is a way that you can way that you can kind of put a forefront.
So a case study that is very close to my heart is a young man that I worked with when I first started back at Endeavour. We always work with others. So when we're running a project, we always work with other charities to help us with the referrals, right? Because just going out and meeting people in the streets is hard, right? How do you identify the right people? So I contacted an organisation called The Pool, who work with homeless young people, and they referred a couple of young people to the group that I was working with, delivering our Endeavour programme. One of the young men was in temporary accommodation, having just been living on the streets for a while, loved the outdoors, did the course with us, met Sheffield Wildlife Trust, became aware of their apprenticeship programme. I don't think it was called an apprenticeship officially. It was a programme that was very like an apprenticeship. I helped him write his application. You know, he went off and got a job where he got the apprenticeship, and then stayed working for Sheffield Wildlife Trust, doing what he'd always loved doing. Stayed in, moved on from his temporary accommodation to a permanent flat. Basically started building his life in a position of very, shortly before living on the streets. Another young woman we recently worked with, through, this is an example of the challenges, faced in our education centre. She was referred to us, her mother had died, fallen out with her father and a new stepmom, went into temporary accommodation again, very suffering some serious kind of like life challenges. We really, and this is an example of the extra stuff that I was talking about, right? So we get paid to deliver education. We don't get paid enough to do what my colleague Patrick, the head of education, does all day, every day, and late into the evening. It's like attend meetings with safeguarding, visit the new temporary accommodation with the young people in our care, provide that smooth kind of flow through the system. all the while educating them to make sure they can stay in education. So basically, we help this young woman find temporary accommodation. She was, she really enjoyed it. She stayed on Endeavour, did her education, finished last year, successfully passing some qualification. Yeah. And maybe on to college, I think.
So it just shows, I suppose, huge spectrum. I think I know, obviously, you not said the story, but about the young adults that you took out to the beach. I think it's certainly one. So that's always one that gets me. But
yeah. So we, as part of what we do, we always try and offer as many residential experiences. Like I said, that democratizing adventure, that democratizing the kind of DV style stuff. I took a group from Sheffield's Young Mentoring Service. So these are young people who've got lots of their own personal problems, but join together to mentor each other through life. Fantastic program. And we met them and worked with them. We did a lot of outdoor activities. We were working through various bits of funding that we had to support them, to do all that stuff. And we got some funding from Children in Need that would fund us to, and from Endeavour and So we got some funding that would fund us to take them on a week residential to North Wales to slow down in, which is where I go on my family holidays every year. So we went and hired a bunkhouse, and we took them up, part of the way up Snowdon, through the slate quarries. We did all those adventurous activities. And then on one of our kind of rest days, what should I do with them? Take them to the beach that I go to with my family. And I took them to this beach in Portuguese, which is just outside Porthmadog. And, let them go swimming. As long as they didn't go out of their depth, they were able to go in the water. And lots of kids there. A lot of them had, significant body image issues. So they're going in fully clothed, and like the difference that we can offer as an organisation, we can be flexible. I've got like water safety qualifications. We make sure we take towels with us. We're not stuffy teachers. We're not going to say you've got to either go in your swim costume, you're not going to the toilet. Okay, fair enough. We'll put a dry bag down in the bus, wrap a towel around yourself, we'll get you dry when you get back home. It's a nice warm day, you know what I mean? Be flexible, give people the chance to do the things that they want to do despite their lack of comfort. So they all came in the water, they all splashed around, swimming around, had a great time. I was just stood keeping them all safe. One of them looked at me and just said, "This is paradise." And this is a group of young people who've never left Sheffield before. And he thought, several of them thought that to get to Wales, you'd have to go on a boat, right?
Well, you can't do something. Depending on when it's not raining.
When it's not raining, So beautiful moment. Just completely horizon broadening and enriching for those young people. Massively valuable.
Brilliant. I mean, it just kind of shows in a different kind of world, isn't it? What you can do from that.
Yeah.
So, is there anything to kind of wrap up? Any last words or comments?
Support Rory to raise money for us, please, because we do great work and he's doing great work to help support us, and he's working really hard and putting a lot of effort in. And he's a great guy, so give him all your support.
Thank you. So again, thank you very much, Ed, for coming down. Great to kind of just hear some from the work you're doing. So I'll attach the link to our GoFundMe page. Again, we've got about just over 6 weeks to finish off, raise some more money before we go out and jet off to Lisbon and run this steaming marathon that I'm not looking forward to. But thanks to I will be after. But again, thanks for watching. If you watched this far, and stay tuned for an update on what we're doing. So goodbye.
Cheers.